Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
And a beautiful, beautiful day it is on the outside. And you know what? Your sunshine stepping in with you. And of course, I want to invite you in, as always, to the hottest spot in town. We call it Sunshine's Corner. But this is, of course, where you can feel comfortable talking about those difficult conversations. And today, as always, I invite the most informative people in so that we can talk together and share things that needs to be shared in our community. As always, I invite you to be a part of this show. Ask that if you have questions, if there's something you don't understand, feel free and call me. 850-432-7768. You can call or text so you can be a part of the solution right here at Sunshine's Corner. And today, you know, it is no difference on this beautiful Tuesday morning. I have two great guests in with me. What I did was I kind of put it on both sides. I wanted a spiritual side, then I wanted the everyday side, then I wanted the legal side, and of course you've got Sunshine side right here. But I want to say good morning and welcome into my fine guests for getting up early for me. And of course, Pastor Marcel Davis, thank you so much for coming in.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
But of course, and our good friend, Mr. Troy Rafferty. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
And thank you for getting up early and coming in for us, okay?
Excited.
But listen to this, everybody. What we want to do is this, and I want you to be able to make sure, I'll take that for you, that you get part of this conversation today so that we can talk about things that needs to be talked about. And those things are, I want to start off with you, Troy.
Okay.
Because of the fact that some changes that have come about with you, I want everybody to know where you are, what you're doing, and on this journey, where you're going.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, there have been some big changes, Sunshine. So I have started a new firm.
Yeah.
Yes, Rafferty, Dominic, Cunningham, and Yaffa.
Yeah.
And we got offices in West Palm Beach and Pensacola.
Okay.
And we're going to be here to serve the needs of the community, of the state, and of the country.
Come on.
And yes, we're going to be doing injury cases. We're going to be doing mass tort cases. Some of the biggest and most important cases in the country that are at the forefront of a lot of issues, some of which we'll talk about today.
Right.
But we're excited. You know, I've been at 11 Papatonio Rafferty for 30 years.
Oh my God.
30 years, and so it was
Has
this
it been that long?
Yeah, it was that long. It went by like that.
I tell you.
But I'm excited. You know, it's a new challenge, and I love new challenges.
There you go.
So.
And you know, I'm a believer like this, Troy. Sometimes when we can be at a place for quite some time, as far as myself, I'll say that way, I was at a place for 20 years. But then God said it was time for me to move you to another level where I want you to do other things. Yeah. And I believe He already, we don't see it, but He's already got it mapped out for us.
He does.
And so what we got to do is believe and trust that where He's taking us, it is greater and better than where we just come from.
Amen.
Okay, I'm not preaching, I'm just saying what the truth. Look, and Pastor Marcel, you went to laugh when I said that. That's that side of me I don't think you've seen that much.
No. That's good, though. We got to have faith in something to will fall for anything.
Tell me about
it. We
it.
also have to have faith that every day, and that's why the name of the church, every day is the day of a new beginning. And sometimes we don't see it, but God will sometimes close the door so that we'll look beyond and we'll see a new beginning and a new place to walk in. Just like your show. It's a totally new beginning. And it's only an hour, but what used to take 3 hours to do, you're knocking out an hour now.
And doing so much better with it.
Yeah.
You know, hallelujah. No, I say that because of the fact, even with things that how they are today, because I told you guys that I wanted to talk about the political field. Right. There are so many things going on now that's affecting the entire world. There's so much non-love that's being shown right now. I think it's overpowering the fact that we do love each other. And the fact of it is, and I want to ask Pastor Marcel, then I'm going to roll right over to you on this one. When it comes to love, and you see now, and I know, I'm sure you're seeing things as much as I, because I keep up with the media, so I can be honest about what I'm talking about.
Right.
I see so much division. I see so much hatred. I see so much separation being talked about, but yet you want to use the name of Jesus.
Right.
How can that be, Pastor? What do we do about situations like that? Let's say if there's a person that's not as knowledgeable as it is about the true word of God. They have not really tapped into that connection, but they're going only on what they heard.
Right.
How do we reach those to get the truth to develop the truth and know how to research to find out what's better for them as a whole?
Well, in the 80s, they coined the phrase compassionate conservatives.
Right.
And which showed that there was a lot more that united us than divided us. And so love is what love does.
Come on.
And the word has taught us that with our love and kindness have we drawn them. So we can disagree and still be kind.
Thank you.
We can disagree and still be loved. It happens to me every morning when I see my daughter in the kitchen, trying to get her to get on back to the college campus. Okay, it happens. It happens every morning.
Exactly.
Like this morning, she was trying to tell me that I was cheating on exercise because we were doing a little exercise together. No,
Good
I'm
job.
not cheating. That's my limit. I know I can only do a certain amount of push-ups. So I didn't cheat. I did.
How many?
But
That was good.
in that conflict, I'm not going to not love my daughter.
Exactly.
And so what's happening so much is that people will breed, is bred into us to have the hatred because we don't agree. But what's more powerful is to have the love and our disagreement because we'll all have a compassionate, conservative answer to what it is that we need. And now's the time not to be yelling at each other, but to be talking to each other so that we'll have a better understanding of who we are. So Troy's a small guy, I'm a big guy. He's David, I'm Jonathan. And that's in the Bible, but the deal is, from two different perspectives, there's one.
Exactly.
So, we might not totally agree on everything, but we can find a compromise. So I would like to encourage people to find the compromise, to have a conversation. And when people come to you with things that you don't like, don't just go off and tear it up, but always bridge the gap where you can have that conversation.
Absolutely.
And I saw some things in this country that has taken place in the last 10 years where there were friendships and relationships that have been totally broken and cannot come back together. But I think with a forgiving spirit, and so I was telling the church in Sunday school on Sunday, with a forgiving spirit, sometimes it's not what you say, but it's what you do.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when
Those
people
actions.
mistreat you, but they have to come back to you, you have to remember that he said he's going to make a table for you in the presence of your enemy. So when your enemies come back to you, you're at the table, and you go ahead on to serve everybody at that table.
Come on now.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can see that Troy has this great big smile on his face because I know he got something he want to say, right? Because I've learned his gestures. That's what the couple times that we've talked. But with that, Troy, and you see the same thing that's going on in the world today.
Oh, absolutely.
How
Too
do you
much.
feel? What do you think we should do?
So, one of the things that I have thought a lot about recently is how is it that you can turn to God, to your higher power, whoever that may be, however it may manifest in you. For me, it's God.
Come on.
And,
Me too.
And you have to be able to turn to God to help and have faith that He's going to guide you down the right path.
Right.
Whether it's compromise, whether it's standing up for what's right
Thank
and
you.
what's just, even when it is against your own self-interests. That's the true measure, is how you act and how you behave when it is not in your best interest to behave that way. Okay, I'm going to take something on, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it as 110% every time.
Right.
And that's because I know I have the strength of God walking with me down this journey of life.
That's right.
And so, you know what? It'll all come together as long as you put your faith in.
I agree, 100%. But I see so many things. It bothers me. I see the things, even from some things I have learned here locally, have really taken me for a loop. But the fact of it is, it's just like you say, I cannot let that affect every aspect of what I do. I know. I think that teaches me how to handle a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It teaches me how to approach that person when I see the real you.
Right.
So I know how to handle you with kid gloves. So when I say that, I'm going on like this when I see, and I have to talk about this because it's on the inside. I want to go back to the debate.
Okay.
Did you watch that?
Oh, I watched it every minute of it.
You and I both, all three of us watched that. But the fact of it, what I saw from the initial point, it was to me that there was so much separation on that podium, up on that stage. Even when the fact that one didn't want to touch another's hand, but she made him touch it. I mean, she said, "You gonna shake my hand today? You gonna know who I am when you say you don't know who I am."
Right.
So I'm gonna introduce my. These are the type of things I'm saying. If it's done from the top, do you not see where that feels like it gives the right for everybody below?
Right.
That I can let that out. Do you not see what I see?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how do we overcome this? How can you not see the realization of what's being given or being put in front of us?
Right.
I don't comprehend that well. When and listen to me, my dear friends, my dear viewers, and my dear friends, please. I'm not here trying to tell you which way to go, what to do, or which choice to make. But what I am telling you is to do this, to do your own research. What I am telling you is to do your own research. Don't take what I say. Look at what's put before you and do your own. I mean, dig and find that for yourself. But my most important message for today is this: to exercise your right to vote.
Right.
Do not allow anybody to tell you or even try to persuade you that your vote doesn't matter.
Right.
Because it does.
Right.
And I hear that a lot in the streets.
Well, with that being said, so I worked for Bill Clinton's campaign when he first ran.
Okay.
We knew that we were not going to win Escambia County, but we were going to increase the numbers in Escambia County. And Clinton went on to win the state of Florida twice because we had a big coalition, Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton, to get out the vote. And that's what's so important. If you want to see change take place, you know, at one time Florida was a state that was pivotal, but in the last few years it changed red.
Of course,
but
totally.
we worked really hard all over the state of Florida back in the 80s to make sure that we got out our base. See, if you get out your base and you encourage your base, you can win this election. So what I want people to take away from the debate was Kamala Harris is a very intelligent lady. She's a very accomplished lady. And she started out like so many of us started out with not having a silver spoon in our mouth.
Absolutely.
Not having the opportunities, but she took the opportunities that was there to make something great of herself. So now she's landed to be state attorney of California, to become the senator of California, to become the vice president of it. Now I applaud Kamala because she could have been a vice president that was rogue.
Yep.
Okay, but she was a vice president that was respectful.
Okay.
And she respected how. She does have a different philosophy because she's from a different mindset from Biden. But Biden has been a good man. He's been a good president. But now let's give her a chance, and she has spelled it out. We don't need a whole bunch of I am. We need someone that would be thoughtful in the process, because as you think about it, times will change and things will change.
But of course.
And to give you another example, let's say, for instance, a few years ago at my church, the Haitian population became very big because a lot of kids from Miami, South Florida, came to University of West Florida. And so I look at those children that came here, what they're doing now: doctors, lawyers, teachers, social workers. But guess what happened? It was a change, because when Haitians really started to come to Florida in '80, we were very against them. But look at what they have contributed to this. So when we look at getting out our base, that's what's most important. If we get our base out, we can change the state of Florida.
Okay.
So we can't say, we can't keep saying the polls are not saying that. Polls, no, get your base out. Okay, when you get your base out, you can change. And I know Troy will tell you about one example where they flew around on the plane to all the counties, you know, getting and encouraging the base to get out.
Really?
Yeah. Getting out to vote is very important. Everybody needs to get out and vote. It's the core of our
course.
democracy.
Exactly.
I put that number one.
No doubt.
And then number two is serving on juries. Those are the kind of heartbeats of what it is that this country was founded on. And if you don't take advantage of your rights, and the right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy. So get out and vote. You know, there's and don't let hatred and divisiveness and everything creep in. we see a lot of that in politics nowadays. If you watch some of the old debates,
Come on.
old presidential debates,
God.
they were actually debates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are fashion.
I am with Pastor Davis in terms of, I thought Kamala did extraordinarily well, fantastic. She is, in fact, just a fighter. Mm-hmm. All the way from when she was a prosecutor. Yes. She's a fighter.
Right.
And she comes from humble beginnings.
Yes, she does.
And, I come from humble beginnings. Mm-hmm. And so I look, and I'm a registered Democrat.
Right.
But I have a lot of Republican friends
mm-hmm.
who are in office mm-hmm. who are wonderful and mm-hmm. do great things, and that I will support, and mm-hmm. I have supported in the past. And we'll talk about a couple of those later on. But yeah, I saw again, look, let's go back to January 6th.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, I can tell you this, I've been in politics for a long time, and I can tell you this, I was watching that unfold on TV, and for the first time in my 55 years, mm-hmm. I was scared for our democracy.
Absolutely.
I was scared for our democracy.
I agree.
And, and then seeing how that's all kind of, whitewashed and that kind of pushed out the side. Mm-hmm. That was an attack.
Big time.
That was domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Right
mm-hmm.
there.
Exactly.
People died. Mm-hmm. And it was due to, and I'm just going to say it was due to Donald Trump's speech that he gave when he said, I'm going to march right down there with you.
Exactly.
Which, of course, he wasn't.
Exactly.
He was hiding. He was hiding.
Exactly.
He was hiding and cowering in the corner.
Right.
But we have to do something about all of the insults and all of the rhetoric and all of the hatred. It's mm-hmm. hatred at its core.
Right. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And it's horrible. And I was watching the debate as you were, and you could see Trump kind of fall right into these insults. And insults are the last resort of mm-hmm. an insecure person mm-hmm. who has a crumbling position and wants to seem confident. So what's he going to do? He's going to call you names.
That's what he does, like a child.
He's going to call you names. Mm-hmm. There, and Kamala also came out with real ideas.
Yes, she did.
Real concrete ideas, and plans. Mm-hmm. She has plans in place to make mm-hmm. America a better place to live.
Thank you.
And while Donald Trump said, I got concepts. Oh, he would never say what he would.
Let you know.
He wouldn't even tell what the concepts were.
I'll let you know.
He wouldn't even tell you what they were.
I tell you what, Troy, hold that right there.
Okay,
we're
sorry.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna let you know what our concepts really are. Mm-hmm. Not gonna wait on. We're gonna let you know right here at Sunshine's Corner. Stay with us.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
I vote because my mother voted. She was 40 years old, and I was 20 when she first voted. She said, Mamie Lee, take me to the registration office or wherever I need to go so that I can register to vote. So I vote for that reason, and I want everybody else to vote. Don't just talk, you gotta walk it like you talk it, and when you walk it, you are voting. So vote. I'm Mamie Webb Hickson, Director of the Writing Lab at the University of West Florida. Just vote.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, Any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're talking about Sonshine's Corner, and you know this. I want to encourage you again, if you would like to be a part of this conversation, feel free, because that's why we're here. I believe in talking about situations. I don't believe in me just controlling the conversation. I believe in all of us putting in our own point of view so that we can really come to a better solution. And as we were talking before we went to break, we were talking about the debate that happened here a week or so ago. And the fact of it is how much hatred is being pushed. And I believe trying to be put on the American people for what I see. Now, I see the tactic because sometimes words have power. And the more you say those words, and I think a person, if they have a weak mindset, you want to believe it, but you see the facts. There's no way you don't see the facts.
No, and that's key. Facts.
That's the fact.
And you made the point earlier. Do your research.
Do
your research. Find out where people stand on issues. See if they're incumbents, where they have been on issues. What they have done. How have they made our society better?
Exactly.
And that's the key. Look at it and come to the conclusion. Like I said, I'm a registered Democrat, but there's a lot of Republicans I vote for.
Absolutely. And I want to comment on that because I say this often on my show. I said, with me as myself, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, I'm not looking if you under the R or the D. I want to see what you're going to do.
Right.
Now, if you're going to bring something to me that I feel that's going to be a betterment for the entire country or locally here for the community, I'm going with you.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I totally.
So I understand exactly what you're saying.
And you got to foster a community.
Yes.
America is a community.
Yes.
The state of Florida is a community. Everything. We have to approach things as a community instead of divisiveness and hatred.
Yes.
And I keep going back to that word, but it's true.
It is.
And to your point, we have to figure out who is the best person to move us forward.
Yes.
And what it is that they are willing to do and that they can enunciate and explain and expound on.
Exactly.
And I think in that debate it was clearly Kamala Harris.
I agree.
Right.
And I think we don't want to go backwards.
Thank you.
Don't go backwards.
No.
Remember the past, but don't live in it.
And I tell you, we don't want to go back there.
No. And that's why I brought up January 6th.
Exactly.
I mean, let's not go backwards. Let's move forward. And I think Pastor Davis said earlier, there's more that unites us than divides us.
Absolutely. I agree.
And let's focus on the united part.
I agree. Last night I was watching, I don't know what channel it's on, I was channel surfing, I was lying in my bed, and there was a commentator that was asking a lay person from the street. And he said, well, it was President Obama who was the problem. And the problem was when the terrorist attack hit New York, that was President Obama. I said, really?
Yeah, a lot of that. So if we take some facts on the debate, let's talk local politics and issues.
Right.
So Donald Trump is totally against windmills. He says it's killing our birds. Where are most of the windmills produced at? Right here in Pensacola, Florida. They're shipped out of our port. If we get rid of windmills, it's going to affect our local economy.
Exactly.
Okay? So the other thing too, they say that she's flip-flopping. On fracking, she was against fracking on federal land. Technology for fracking has changed. Okay, so when Putin decided that he was going to cut off the gas and freeze Europe, we opened up fracking so that Europe can have the gas. So we're the largest exporter of liquid natural gas to the European country, which has affected our economy, especially the economy in Pennsylvania. So when we look at some of the things that happen, let's look at our local economy. When a hurricane comes, we benefit from what? Natural gas.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you start to look at how does it affect our local economy based on what Kamala and Trump is talking about, she's more for our local economy by the fact that GE is producing windmills here. The Port of Pensacola is shipping them out all over the world. So it will have an effect. So it was some other things when you think about our local economy. If the Affordable Care Act goes away.
Oh my God.
All right, I have a precondition because I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Right.
Just think about the days when a type 2 diabetic couldn't get insurance.
Couldn't even get
or
it.
couldn't afford it.
That's
so
right.
I think Troy, for the work that he's done on the cap with the price of insulin, and have a mass lawsuit against these companies that will in turn reimburse people from the cost of insulin. So when we talk about all politics are local, yes, they are local, but look at how it would affect our economy if people with preconditions couldn't have health insurance anymore.
Project 2025. You're getting everything that's in it.
Yeah, so you have to stick with some of the facts that came out in the debate that they're talking about Kamala flip-flopping on. Let's talk about Medicaid for all and Medicaid for illegal immigrants. If a 10-year-old child came into this country and their spleen busted or they had a hernia that was killing them, would you not want to help that child? It's not that we're just going to do it for anybody, but here's a child in our country who's having a problem, okay? Would you not want to help? So there's times where you have to have the mindset that can change. And I think that we start off talking about change is good, doors closing and open up other doors. But for 10 years, okay, when you have to realize that Trump is 78 years old now.
Thank you.
When he first came in this political scene, he was 68. His mindset, he's slowing down. He's not as energetic. He's not as thoughtful as he was 10 years. But he talks about, so now you're the old man that everybody's focusing on, and some of your plans are just, you don't have a plan. You have a concept.
Right.
But, when we talk about local things that will affect us, those are some of the things that will affect us. And when we look into other things, into the Pensacola economy, what makes us strive as being in the South, we have to understand that we are big polluters. Okay, the fact that FPL has pushed natural gas in their plants, that's helping us. Okay, so if we lose all those things and we turn the page back, our local economy will be affected.
Big time.
The quality of our air and our health will be affected. So when we look at issues that was brought out on that debate, it's factual that a lot of things that we look at what Kamala's trying to do will impact our economy in a positive way and not in a negative way.
No doubt. But I want to move on right on over to Troy, because there was something you said, the things that you have already fought for and the things that you are yet fighting for, because we know your slogan, the people's voice, and we love it, so I'm not going to take it.
You can take anything.
No, but tell us what inspired you to do the things that you do. What is it, even though you see the things around you, and I'm sure some people may not agree with some of the things that you do.
Oh no, there's a lot of people. Trust me, I got enemies. If you don't make enemies, that means you're not standing up for something.
Come on now.
That's the key.
Thank you.
Enemies are not necessarily a bad thing.
That's right.
That just means you're standing up for something that's
Absolutely.
right and
Absolutely.
just. And that's the key. And so, for example, the insulin that he brought up. Yes, we sued all of the insulin manufacturers up in federal court in New Jersey for price. What they did, all the manufacturers got together. Now, understand, insulin takes about less than $2 a vial to make. And what they had done is the manufacturers got together and they artificially inflated the prices to make it so people couldn't get insulin, because they were charging up to $130 per vial. $2 to make it. Now understand, there hasn't been any massive research and development in insulin in decades.
Right.
It's not like they come out with this new drug. All they did was get together and say, well, they need it because insulin is a life-saving drug.
Right.
It is so important. It keeps people alive.
Exactly.
And they knew that they're going to have it, so they just increased the prices together. And if you watch the three major manufacturers, they all moved in unison over the years, increasing the price. Now, this is something you could get in anywhere else in the country or anywhere else in the world for like $15 a vial. And they're charging up to $130. So one of the things that was, so we brought that lawsuit, and I feel very passionately about it, because parents were having to ration out insulin amongst their children who had diabetes because they couldn't afford it.
Is this the same drug that everybody's using now to get skinny?
Oh yeah, Ozempic. That is one of them. That is one of them.
That's one of them.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Cut out carbs instead. I'm joking, but no, it's and so one of the things that the Biden administration did under Biden and Harris, under that administration, they capped the amount that they can charge on insulin. Now it's too little, too late. But this was been going on for years.
Right.
And so, you know, it's but it's a step. It's a step in the right direction. Instead of just relying upon the manufacturers. An interesting little fact: the patent holder, the person that invented it, that got the patent on it back years and years and years ago, many decades ago, he sold it. He sold that patent to the University of Toronto. Guess how much?
How much?
$1.
Why did I have $1 in my head?
$1. And he said when he did it, he said it's because they said, why are you doing that? This is groundbreaking. And he said because insulin belongs to the world and not one company or one person.
Absolutely.
It belongs to the world. And now look what's happened.
Exactly.
These corporate Goliaths have just bastardized this whole concept that this should be something that's made available to people who are in dire need of it.
Exactly.
And so when you look at the facts and you look at stuff that the things that Biden and Harris have done, dig down into it and see that was a big issue.
Yes, it was.
And so so I feel very passionately about that.
That's a great, because not cutting you off short, because there was a lady that called in once that I was talking about this. She said, "Oh well, I'm going to go that way because I do not know her name, and I invite anybody if you want to call in to talk about that again, you're more certainly welcome." But she said, "I'm going to vote for Trump because so my medication can go down." I said, "Honey, he can't change that price."
No, he's not going to, and he's not going to
do anything to do.
They're all funding him.
Thank you. Exactly.
So, I mean, you look at the donor sheets; it's all Fortune 5 companies,
exactly.
Fortune 10 companies.
Exactly.
So I mean, no, that's not going to decrease. I'll tell you what, directly, and this is just facts. Directly, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris decreased the price of insulin,
didn't they?
And they're holding the pharmaceutical companies accountable
for what?
Because that's all it's about. You know, they spend billions of dollars on marketing. Okay,
Yes.
it's like you know, trying to convince people that this drug is going to make your life better, whatever drug it may be, and have people walking in a park holding hands and having all this stuff.
Right.
It's all bull. Okay.
Exactly. I agree.
I stopped short of saying it.
What's your favorite curse word? I can't tell.
I can't tell. But when you look at the facts, and that's what we got. What we talked about in the last segment. When you talk about the facts, and all politics are local.
Most
as they
certainly.
say.
Exactly.
That's right.
I agree.
But they have large ramifications.
No doubt about it. So what we're trying to say to you, my dear, and I've really emphasized this strongly, that please, even when they back here in the primary, the turnout was not as great that we expected it to be. But you don't understand. This is where it begins.
Right.
This is where it begins. You got to do that. So we encourage you today to please make sure you exercise your right to vote. Learn something today. Go back and do research for yourself. And stay here. We're going to keep that mind open right here at Sunshine's Corner.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
I am going to vote. I vote because I want my voice heard. For many years, people like me were silenced. Women were silenced. So I vote to make sure that my voice will be heard. I'm Dr. Yvonne Capehart, and I encourage you to just vote.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m. hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to this great conversation that we're sharing today. Pastor Marcel of Adoration Church, right here. New beginnings every day. And of course, we've got Troy Rafferty with Rafferty, Dominic Cunningham, and Yapa.
Yes.
Did I say that correct?
Yes, ma'am. You
I
did.
got it.
You
All
got
right. But look, I want to say thank you again, because these are the type of conversations I like to have so that people can get a better understanding.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be repetitious with something for them to hear it. When I say repetition, and that's what he's doing, repetitiously,
Yes.
and that's planting that seed in who want to receive it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I think some people, now this is just my opinion, personal pronoun, think that some people just don't want to see others advance.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Some people just don't want to see my community advance.
Right.
And I do not understand the fear. I do not understand the lack of not pursuing or to get behind to everybody should have that right to live in this country, to be comfortable, to make a comfortable living, and not try to pull me down instead of uplift me. But that's what I see that's happening now, that is so open. And I just ask everybody, if you can't see it, let me lend you my contact lenses. Because no, it happens, Troy. It is so behooving. It's like, okay, Pastor Marcel, you got this and you got this growing. But before I want to uplift you to help you, I'm going to do everything I can to pull you down. But why not? If I lift you up, then that's going to be space enough for me to go up.
Well, let me tell you, I never forget when I turned 40, I got this card that said, these are the things to expect. And it gave me a bib, because they say you're going to start spilling, no matter how nice that shirt is, that one spot. So this weekend, they're going to be honoring my family that were lighthouse attendants on the base, that built the lighthouse and worked out. So it used to be called Woozy before it was called Warranty. And it was Woozy.
Okay.
Woozy, Florida, then it became Warrenton, Florida.
Okay.
So what took place was whites and blacks lived together and got along. The original owner of Joe Martin's funeral home actually was a lighthouse attendant, okay? So what happened was the blacks and whites started to advance in business, moved down to build Belmont, develop the blocks, okay?
Really?
So what took place was that one spot, that one person came in there and started to change the paradigm and the mindset that you guys should live separate and not together. So all of my life I heard about the church that I grew up in, that when the Klan would burn it down, the community came together and moved the church from where the cemetery is located now behind the old Kelsko thing to where the church is presently located. I'm going somewhere with this story. So the whites and blacks came together to move this church. Now think about it. But sometimes it just takes that one person that will come in and start to affect. And I've seen that so much in our community since that one person 10 years ago started to have an effect on what people's thoughts are and not factual. And so, you know, this election is very important for us to come together because we're all Americans. So you know, like some of the kids laugh at me now in front of church because I know all the patriotic songs. God Bless America, from Sea to Shine. I know all those songs because I love America. Okay? And I love the opportunity that it could take place only in America where slaves can come be brought over here on a boat and figure out a way to make it happen. You're treating me so bad, but I'm going to build you this lighthouse to help you fight off the enemy. I'm going to build Fort Barrancas to help you fight off the enemy. And then we're going to leave from Warrenton and we're going to go to Fort Pickens and help stage to keep the Civil War from taking over our democracy. I want to challenge every young person out here to recognize and realize, don't worry about what they say about you, worry about what you do.
Thank you.
And what you do will make a difference.
No
so,
doubt.
you know, I'm really proud of the ancestors that came from. I'm proud of my great-grandfather, Jonas Brown, who didn't let, you know, where he came from stop him from building his own neighborhood.
No doubt. We got a phone call.
Okay.
Somebody want to ask us something here today.
Okay.
Let's see here. Good morning. Hello.
Sonshine.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I spell peace, P-E-A-C-E. Prayer eliminates all craziness every time. You know personally, for 11 years I was blessed here in Pensacola to be the owner of the first business on Main Street, located in the historical village of the first European settlement in the United States, established in 1559.
Right.
I was an unpaid ambassador of peace, unity, and revival because I came here from Guantanamo in '95 when the Brownsville revival was going on because of over 30,000 Haitian and Cuban refugees that had overtaken Guantanamo Bay, and I had to come out. That's deja vu all over again about what's happening. Right. But I want to emphasize Pete-Cola's history of being the first European settlement established in 1559. Let's generate another revival and keep it going this time. You know, I would like to call it the Pete-Cola Overflow Revival.
Come on,
and it's a revival where you don't have to go nowhere, but down on your knees in prayer.
Amen.
Amen. From 95 to 2000, they said 4 million people came here from all over the world, and they're still praying, and their spirit is still thinking about Pete-Cola.
That's right.
So I just want to lift it up and ask everybody that understands the power of prayer to get involved in prayer and read your Bible. Bible. Believing it brings life eternal. Supernatural blessings on all y'all, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. And I mean, like, that's Kingdom Walker. Okay, they call him Kingdom Walker. I met this gentleman when I first moved to Florida. He has a prayer list. I bet it's that thick. But there are people all over the world that pray for us daily. And I think that's what Kingdom Walker. I mean, but he's so inspirational. And I appreciate the fact how he sits and he prays for not just the country, but for locally here in Pensacola for what he was saying. Now, when it comes to, like you were routing out those dates, he's one of those too, historian here in Pensacola. But what we're trying to do today, even with the belief of spirituality, I don't care who it is you may believe in or what your faith may be, but until you can tap into something that's going to keep you focused in the right way.
That's right.
And not just fall for anything, we're all in trouble. And I say that. But Troy, you were talking about the fact of even with the election that's coming up, I want to go back to this fact here because he was saying that there may be some times that there are people that may be under the R or under the D. I may be a Democrat, but I am still going to vote for this person for what they do. I'm trying to inspire people. We're trying to inspire people. You're not called the people's voice for nothing. I believe that God gives us all labels, that he has a plan for us to take it even further. And I commend you on the work that you've done and yet doing. I truly commend you because I go back and I read, I search, I read, and we need more people like that. And I'm focusing on that because I'm looking at this. Do you see this Oreo cookie here? I had to say that. That's my little joke. But what I'm saying is though, but the fact of it is that it doesn't matter because of your pigmentation. Right. It doesn't matter because of your pigmentation. It doesn't matter if you came from Warrenton. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. The fact of it is that we are here and we're making a point to try to get things covered in a way that needs to be covered. And until this come together, until it comes
You're right.
together, we're yet lost.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen. Yes, and so, you know, one of the things, because this is a key issue here. It really is, and there's more that unites us than divides us, as my spiritual advisor tells me all the time. But, you know, it's funny, whether they fall under an R or fall under a D. Everybody needs to remember. I always say remember the past, but don't live in it.
Exactly.
And you have to do that, because it wasn't that long ago. And it's still, if people don't think racism is alive and well.
Oh my God,
it is alive and well. And
Yes,
we
it
have to
is.
do every day, we have to figure out something we can do to try and bridge that gap. And, you know, once again, so there's one particular issue that was a stark reminder to me. When I was approached by what are referred to as the White House Boys, the Dozier School, the Dozier Reform School over in Mariana. For years, for decades, that was a place where it was just forced labor. It wasn't a school at all. It was forced labor, and it was segregated. There was the black campus and the white campus, and neither of the two shall ever meet or talk. And so they were abused, they were beaten, they were raped, they were murdered. So far, there's been over 50 bodies of children.
Oh my Jesus.
50, I don't even like to say bodies. 50 children were found buried in a grave on those grounds. And you know, the horrors that these people went through. And I was talking with one of them. I was at the Dozier School with some of them, and I was talking to him, and I said, "Why?" I asked one white gentleman. I said, "Well, why were you taken to the White House?" The White House was a small white cinder block building where they had 2 rape rooms and 2 beating rooms. They had one for they had one rape room for the blacks and one beating room for the blacks, one rape room for the whites, and one black and one beating one for the and so because they didn't want him. And I asked this gentleman, and he was like, "Troy, I've served 3 terms in Vietnam, on the front lines, getting shot at, crawling through the muck and the blood. I would rather be back there right now than here in front of this school with these atrocities." No. And I said, "Well, why were you taken to the White House and beaten and raped?" And he said, "Because I was caught talking to a black kid."
My Jesus Christ.
Just talking to him. They weren't arguing, they weren't fighting. They were just talking as people. And that's what we all are. We're people.
That's all we are.
Let's make a point of that. Right. And you know, and I'll tell you who was instrumental, and I know this gets to the R&D question that you raised. And that is, it's 15 years these White House boys have tried to get legislation passed in the state, because this was a state-run school.
Right.
Try to get legislation passed in the state to get some form of justice, some form of acknowledgement of the horrors they went through at the hands of the state. And when they approached me, I decided, after looking at it, there wasn't any legal court recourse for them, but we could change the law. We could change the law, and they tried for 15 years to change that law. And I'm proud. This is really one of my most proud moments in my 30 years of practicing law. And so I said, well, you know what, we're going to change the law. And I reached out to Michelle Salzman, Representative Salzman, and she's in a race right now against Francine Mathis, and who is a wonderful person.
Right.
And you know, but when I talked to Representative Salzman, you could see the tears building up in her eyes, because you can't help but listen to the horror stories that these children went through from ages 6 to 11.
Babies.
Babies that were put in that school for truancy, for skipping school or smoking a cigarette. You know, it's ridiculous things. And you know, it's just, and you know what? Representative Salzman said, we're taking this on.
Come on.
We're going to take it on, Troy. And so we fought, and she fought, and she is one of the fiercest advocates in the House.
Exactly.
She is, and what you see is what you get with her. And so
hold it right there, Troy. Let's go cut. No, you
I got you.
with me. We got this, okay? We got this.
Okay.
I mean, because he's touching points that I could talk about for days, because it's so true. I could talk about it for days. Stay close. We're going to be right back with more with Pastor Marcel and Troy Rafferty right here on Sonshine's Corner.
I had a lot of family growing up that voting was the key factor to life. to make a change in what you want in your future. I have 4 children, and I want to make a difference for them in our future. So we gotta vote. You gotta have a voice. I'm Samantha Williams, and I encourage you to just vote.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
My father told us he paid the cost to be the boss, which meant whatever he told you to do, you better do. So we were told you must vote. He would sit us down at a round table and go over the reasons why you needed to vote, why it was so important, that he fought for us to make sure that we could vote and that we were to fight for ourselves and for his grandchildren. My name is Jill Lewis-Staggs. I am the state committee woman for Okaloosa County, and I'm here to tell you, just vote.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. I tell you what, I'm talking so much back here, it's like, okay, this show never stops. But it is such a pleasure to have 2 people, and I want them from 2 different entities to come on and share the same thing. But what we're seeing here today, even though Pastor from Adoration, then here is Troy Rafferty, who's an attorney who fights, but we all come from the same.
Absolutely.
We're looking for the same thing with the foundation. You understand what I'm saying? And the fact of it is, what we're trying to get the people here locally, and there are people who are watching way long distance too. But to know what we're trying to convey is a message of positivity, coming together and to exercise your given right for this upcoming election.
And I think one of the things I just want to tie that last issue about the Dozier School together, because it was it was a great scene when we were there at the signing, when the governor signed the bill, because we've got the bill passed, and all of the White House boys were there, and you know, whites, blacks, everybody was there that went through these atrocities, and it was really just because it was Republican. Senator Roussan was a key person in helping that. Michelle Salzman that I talked about. A lot of Republicans and Democrats actually came together to do finally to show some semblance of justice for these folks.
But of course.
But see what happens when we work together.
Thank you.
And don't let the color of our skins dictate our ideals.
Exactly.
I mean, let's put all that apart. And we were able to get a $20 million fund set up for these White House boys, and to give them some justice. And and so I can't look at one R or D, as you put it, Sonshine. I can't look at just the letter after that name. I can't look at fancy hats with slogans on it.
Thank you.
We got to dive deeper. Don't read the headline, read the story.
Exactly.
That's what we need to do.
No doubt about it. No doubt about
it. But it's important, and this election is important.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
So
we got 3 minutes.
Yeah, so that's why I'll just say this to sum up what we've been talking about. See, in the book of Hebrews, it says, lay aside every weight. What is that weight? Is that weight the color of someone's skin?
Come on.
Or because they're Democrat? Lay aside every weight that we have, and let's run this race, looking unto the ultimate authority that showed us to lay aside division, which was Jesus. The woman was caught in a very act of adultery, but he didn't judge her.
That's right.
Okay? There was other people that was asked the question, well, the family must have sinned that this child was born blind. And Jesus had to say, those are just weights.
That's right.
If we'll lay aside those weights, we'll find a solution.
I agree.
Okay, and the deal is, it's like, now, let's find a solution. Let's not let the idiocracies of people divide us with untruth, with made-up means and made-up stories. Let's lay aside every weight. And that becomes the sin that separates us from the justice that America was set up for, with liberty and justice for all. But it's going to take place when we learn to lay aside that weight. And we've got to remember that song I was saying about that. This is my country, land that I love.
Come on.
We've got to go back to the fact to put that, not let the red, white, and blue divide us, or the flag that some people carry as a sign of hatred.
That's right.
We've got to go back to say that if we don't have something that we all stand for, we're going to fall as a nation.
For anything. And Troy, I want to thank you for getting up early, coming in with us today. I appreciate that. And you know, your new office is going to be down here on Palafox.
On Palafox.
All right, and this called Rafferty, Dominique, Cunningham, and Yapa.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got it down to a science now. But I want to thank you for the work that you do and continue to do. We greatly appreciate that.
Thank
the eyes of optimism that you can use to look and see to make things better.
Thank you.
That's what it called for. And you, Pastor, same thing. I agree. I appreciate all the work that you're doing and the belief that you have in the things that are new. I appreciate that from the heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fantastic day as always, and bringing you information, bringing you ways that you can open up your mind and see things in a better way. It is time for us to get out of here, but it's been a fantastic Tuesday as always. But you know what? I want to leave it with you as I do every single day. Never, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first in every single thing that you do, I can guarantee you this without a thought. You're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow at 9 o'clock for another day of nothing but sunshine, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love, and keep shining while I'm gone. And thank you guys for getting up early coming in.
Thank you, Sunshine.
Thank
you.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.